don't want to play under pressure. They don't want to play under stress. Tottenham story is this. They don't want to play under pressure. They don't want to play under stress. Tottenham story is this. I don't want to see what I have seen today, because this is unacceptable.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Rule the Roost podcast. Last show of the season, and I thought, why not? Why not have a blast from the past? Welcome him back, Mr. Raj Bains. How you doing, lads? Good to have you back.
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. All the better for speaking to you, Jack.
So do you know what I mean? You're putting me above Neil Warnock. You're hosting your evenings with him and all that.
It was one evening, and nobody will ever be above you, Jack.
Oh, that's good. That's good. But mate, I'm very not to be patronising, man, but very proud of you, lad. Strength to strength. Like it's a real heartwarming kind of get in there, lads. Seeing you do that kind of thing. So
oh, thank you.
Nice.
It's worked out for us both. The podcast got better without me on it and everything, so it's been good.
Oh, I don't know that. I'm just sitting there talking on my own after games now. Do you know what I mean? It just stops me. It's probably made my marriage better, mate, because I'm not sat there ranting for half an hour after a game. I just do it into a microphone now instead. So, Shah gets a bit of a breather.
It's enjoyable. It's good content.
Well, thank you.
I do feel bad for you that, given that we don't sit there for 3-4 hours a night once a week talking about everything that comes to mind, you've had to make a second podcast
right?
about films rather than doing one big one about everything that comes to mind. You now have to do two slightly more focused ones.
I mean, that was really that was halcyon day stuff, wasn't it? Like when every now and again you get a lot of people being like, "Love the pod, but please, can it not be 3.5 hours long?" We'd be like, "Okay, maybe we'll take that into consideration." Next pod finished. Okay, it's 3 hours 15 minutes long, but whatever.
But we'd start recording at 10:30 at night, and it'd be ridiculous times that we're doing this. It was just, it goes to show that we're now two adult men in their 30s with wives and other responsibilities and things to do with their time. So.
I mean, I am still in my 30s, but just about now, mate. This is kind of...
I don't, that's depressing.
I know, right? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Remember when you were the young whippersnapper of Tottenham Twitter?
Mate, I remember when we started this podcast, I was 26?
Yeah, I think I was about 18, 19.
Do you know what I mean? What?
Yeah, I'll be 31 in a couple of months.
Oh, dear. Oh, God. Oh, well.
Are we now the Gammon cast?
Maybe. Well, let's see how this one goes, mate. We'll see how the rest of this goes. Look, right, okay. Let's top line. How did you feel about this season, man? Because we haven't we exchanged the odd WhatsApp here and there. Fucking awful that was type thing after a performance, or me usually being like Arsenal are going to win it, and you saying don't be daft. No, they're not. That's kind of been the theme of the season, right?
I never lost faith in Arsenal bottling it, and I was glad to have been proven right there. That did make the two things have made the season somewhat worth it. Arsenal bottling it in the fashion that they did, and everyone clambering to say that they haven't, which has been hilarious. Yeah. It is what it is. And then Tottenham getting Bielsa sacked last season and then relegating Leeds has personally been a real... I feel that's been a long time coming to pay it forward for me and make that childhood trauma... full circle and realised. But otherwise, it's been pretty abominable. I've been to see Spurs in person several times this season when they've been away. Everton away, Man United away, Sheffield United in the Cup.
Oh, fucking hell, man.
Somewhere else. I haven't seen us win in person all year.
Did you do Newcastle? You usually do Newcastle, don't you?
No, I didn't. I think Town must have been playing or something like that. I was somewhere else on that day. So luckily, I'd missed that one. I completely missed that game. So I was out when that was happening. I think my missus was car shopping or something like that. That's what my life has become. So it was just the text updates, and it was just one of those where I just laughed at my phone. I was like, this is incredible to witness. And then, I genuinely still to this minute have not seen a kick of that game.
What, the Newcastle one?
Yeah, after we saw why am I going to fire up those highlights? One of the things of growth that my 30s has given me is inability of better self-care. That gone are the days where I used to rewatch every Tottenham game to write about and analyse and talk to you about if we've done something that's appalling and for some reason life has taken me away from it. I'm not going to go seek it out for any reason.
Honestly, mate, it was one of those where it looked for a time like we were actually going to lose by double figures. Like the manner of it, and oh god, it was awful. Do you remember Germany, Brazil in the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
When just watching it, like, what the fuck is going on here? This is one of those things where you're just like, well, of course this can happen. Why don't more teams win like 12-0? Do you know what I mean? Like, because it had all the makings of that. And I mean, look, talking about being proven right, Antonio Conte, if we cast our mind back, I think maybe the last time you and I recorded a pod together was around the time that Conte was being rumoured to join the club.
No, I think he joined. I think we talked about him a few times because we spoke in the summer.
Yeah.
Before Nuno, God rest his soul, and we talked about it then, and we said that I don't think he's a good fit, all that sort of thing. And I think we spoke again when he first came in, and we both kind of went, look, these lads need their heads wobbling a bit. Maybe we are at a point now where a personality like his is what we need. Maybe we are at a point where he could do something here. And for a year he did. And then I think we said that when it ends, it'll end horribly. It won't be a nice separation. And that was born to be true. I don't think neither of us have got a crystal ball or anything, but the man's track record speaks for itself.
Yeah. I mean, how did you feel about him towards the end? Look, the infamous Southampton rant, there's a lot of this kind of Conte was right type chat. I mean, I still think he's an arsehole, really, whether there's some shred of truth in what he was saying. The guy was paid a lot of money to come and do a job here, and it seemed that he was just so resentful of it from really early on into his tenure.
Yeah, it was odd. The whole thing was odd. He seemed to hit his stride, and then I thought, had an okay summer, and then it just seemed to derail extremely quickly. I think his personality and abrasiveness has probably got a part to play in it, as well as the makeup of the squad and factors within the club. But yeah, it wasn't nice by the end of it. You sort of reminiscent of Sherwood in that you don't want somebody representing your club who clearly dislikes the team that you love,
right?
And that's the disconnect there. He's decent enough at his job. He's probably going to do what Mourinho's done and go elsewhere and be okay again. If he gets more to his tune from various factors, but it never felt like a Tottenham Hotspur manager. Even when in the good times, it wasn't like what we would expect our good times to be like in terms of look, feel, play, all those sorts of things. And it was proven to be that way. We're a little bit without ideology at present. I think that's something we've really lost since we sacked Pochettino. It was such a perfect match in terms of spirits and views and all those sorts of things. And when you divorce yourself from that, you have to make a change because you can't try and replicate that because you're not going to get the same successes. And we spoke at the time while we understood the rationale behind the Mourinho move. And then trying to replicate that with Conte again, you can see the thinking, but it's not going to be fantastic. But we've got far enough away from the Pochettino thing now, and obviously where his career has gone on to, that we are at a position where we've just got to start again, similar to where we were post Sherwood, pre Pochettino. It's in that similar sort of thing. We talk all the time, when we used to talk all the time about this game and the club being cyclical, and we're back at the start of a different cycle. It's almost taken two win now managers to undo the Pochettino-ness, if that's a word, of the club, and now we're ready to start again afresh.
Do you have faith in Levy to do that anymore, though? I'm interested in your take on this because I think, again, we've always been pretty aligned on that he doesn't always get it right, but he's generally a force for good. I mean, that's probably not the best turn of phrase for it, but he's done well by Tottenham for the most part of his tenure. But I would say I personally now have really just the Paratici stuff and a lot of the things I hear coming out of the club now, it just doesn't sit easy with me anymore. It feels to me like everything does need a refresh. And whatever, that's not going to happen unless somebody says here's £5 billion. So, that's the truth of the matter. But, I mean, do you have faith in him to really take stock of what's gone wrong to this point and also back whoever it's Postecoglou or Nagelsmann, to allow them the freedom to overturn the squad, to buy players that they want, to, do you know what I mean? All the things that we hear that Levy gets heavily involved in.
Right, so I'm not heavily Levy in or Levy out. I try and take a more level-headed approach to it if I can. I wrote about it in one of the few threads I've written about about Tottenham this year on Twitter. I wrote about how we were feeling and how the club is, and kind of my main takeaway was that people try and compare us to other clubs all the time, and it's an impossible task to do because there's nobody else who has been on the journey that Tottenham has been in the past few years, in the past 10, 15 years. Plenty have tried, and I think if you're going to give Levy any credit or the club any credit as a whole, then you compare us against the clubs that have tried to do what we've, actually have achieved. Leeds have gone bust and been relegated twice. It took them 20 odd years to get back up. Villa went down. Everton had damn near gone down and are on the brink of financial ruin. They might get there one day with a new stadium and everything, but they're nowhere near it at the minute. Blackburn got relegated. There are countless clubs that have tried to go on the path of, being an also-ran, making up the numbers Premier League side to compete regularly in the top, the top 5, 4, 3, 6, whatever you have it. And Tottenham's the only club that has managed to achieve that. So whichever way you slice it, you can't take that away from them. We've become a vastly different business in that time. We've become a vastly different entity. Its footprint and size on a world scale has completely changed. We've talked about this before. Used to go on holiday and nobody knew who Tottenham was. People know who we are now. You go in a dodgy football shop on holiday and there'll be a Kane Son shirt hanging up. There'll be a Tottenham knockoff there. And that never used to be the case before. People know who we are and we are a big club now, and that we weren't before. That's a simple truth, whichever way you like it. The point I made at the time was that we've had constant progression for 15 years, and this is the only point now where we've started to stagnate. So naturally, I think people are going to start to shit the bed because you've got so used to there being more hope, there being somewhere to go, there being a next step to make, and that next step used to be, okay, we've got into the UEFA Cup. Let's now get into the knockout rounds of the UEFA Cup. Okay, now we've got a player as good as Berbatov. Let's actually sign someone who wants to stay here rather than somebody who's going to go on to Man United. Let's not become a selling club like I don't mean any disrespect in this. This is just, the food chain of the world, a Southampton, a Brighton that find brilliant players and then feed the top clubs in the Premier League with them. That's what we used to be. Michael Carrick, Robbie Keane even. These players used to come to us and then get sold on to clubs that could, afford to buy them offers, and that's not the case anymore. We've bridged that gap, but we're at a place now where that last step that we've got to bridge is winning the league, winning the FA Cup, winning the Champions League. And there are 3, 4 other teams, 5 other teams in the league who have those same ambitions and are as well set up, if not better set up to do that. So in order to do that is harder to do than what we've done for the last 15 years. That last step is an even bigger step than what we've done in the last 15 years. And of course, we're going to lose patience with it because it's the only thing we're missing. But I think at the same time, you've kind of got to take stock and realise that you've got to recognise how far it's been in coming as well. Like, we've done it in such a way that we can have another go, we can have another crack. We're not going to fold overnight, and we're not in a precarious financial situation where we've not qualified for Europe this year, so that's us bust now, and we're gonna, FFP will do us, admin will do us, something like that. We're set up to go again. So that side of it, I just being level-headed. I can't criticize people for running a club well, because you ask every other team in the division if Tottenham are run well. You ask all the other clubs who are beneath us if Tottenham are run well, and they are. There's not another club beneath us or around us who wouldn't swap positions with us. Not even a Brentford or a Brighton who've had a good year this year. Even Leicester. Leicester won league and they're in Championship next year. So being good sustainably is not easy. I mean, would we have swapped where we are to do a Leicester win one league and then fade off? I don't think I would have done. I would have loved to win the league, but
It's
be
tough. It's tough, that one.
Would you honestly want to see Tottenham in Championship? I love the Championship. I work in Championship, but I don't want to. I think that's worse than hiring bad managers or doing what we do, making a few bad signings.
I would love to see us win the league. Now that's the thing,
I think we're closer to win. This is the thing. We're closer to winning the Premier League than we are winning the Championship.
Let's fucking hope so.
But no, it's one of those things. The other point I made is that I think we have come to a realistic point now where fine margins at the very top are what make a difference in a sporting sense. And Daniel Levy has shown that he does it occasionally well. Negotiation wise, you can't really fault him. I think he's done more good than bad. But we've come to a point where the business is that big and has outgrown what it was previously, that he needs somebody else to run the football operations of the football club, and maybe Scott Munn is the person to do that. But there needs to be an evolution at that level of the club, the thinking wise and the direction wise, and whether or not he's able to accept that, whether or not the other board members are able to accept that is their decision. We're not privy to that. One of the things that does make me laugh and chuckle is, this isn't a dig at anybody. This is just fandom, as fandom is. It's something that we've all done and will continue to do for time immemorial. But we put ourselves and insert ourselves into narratives and conversations that we really have no idea about. We try and gesture and posture for what we think is happening behind closed doors. Journalists do it too. But really all they know is what they're being briefed to know. And they're being briefed by people with their own agendas and ideas. So even with the best reporting in the world, those people are obviously doing a fantastic job. Even with the best reporting in the world, you're not getting a full picture of what is actually happening. Unless you're in the room, unless you're on the board at Tottenham, you don't actually know the situation we're in. So there's only so much we can actually complain about and know about in an actually in an informed manner. So it's one of those that I try and focus my energy when I get the time and opportunity to support Tottenham in the way I want to just concentrate on what we can do as a football team, rather than getting lost in the weeds of what's happening at a board level or what appointments happening here. And obviously it matters and it trickles down and it has an impact on what's going to happen on the pitch, obviously. But there's only so many hours in the day. So it's one of them where I'm at a position now where I think we've built ourselves a really brilliant and underrated foundation. Mauricio Pochettino's achievement, as we've said countless times, was a victim of his own success. The growth and what we wanted to achieve as a football club was accelerated in such a way that expectations were accelerated, goals were accelerated, what we dreamed of and thought was possible and achievable was accelerated. So we kind of sit in a weird position where we've lapped ourselves a little bit, and now we're actually catching up off the field to where we want to be on the field. And there just needs to be some joined up thinking now where we go on from here and build from that. It's such a small margin for error and ability to do something, but I don't know. It's hard to tell football fans to be patient because this is what we do as a folly. This is this is our passion, our pastime. This is the one area of life perhaps you're allowed to be irrational. We can't behave like this in the bank or down the street or when we're talking to the wife or dealing with your kids if you have them or with your boss. If there's one area where you're allowed to lose your head a little bit and do something, it's within reason, of course, is your football club and doing something like this where it is, it does mean a lot, but it's not the end of the world at the same time. So it's an odd balance to strike. Does any of that make sense, Jack?
Yeah, it does, mate.
I haven't done this for a very long time.
It's oh, mate, I was just thinking that I've missed doing these with you because it's like I can make a point and then you can just spell it back to me in pretty erudite fashion, And I'm like, this is fine. This makes my job much easier, It is interesting something you touched on there about like the power of fans and things, because I've been thinking lately, really, that in many ways, because of the nature of information now, the way it's propagated, our various communication devices and avenues and everything like that, it does lead to this sense that we're as connected as we ever have been with our football clubs and with all our players, and we can see them all posting shit on Instagram and whatever. It does breed this kind of sense that we're on the cusp of it. But really, I think when it comes down to it, like you say, I think it has almost engendered this feeling of powerlessness with a lot of people, because it makes us realise how close we are, but how far away we are from everything. And one of the sort of running themes I felt of this season really is everybody just being like, look, there's just nothing we can do as fans anymore. We're watching our team, and that's always been the case, but it feels more like some kind of epiphany now for some reason, that we are on rails and we are just here to ultimately sit and watch our team. And yes, we can boo Daniel Levy, and you can wear a purple and gold scarf if that's what you want to do, and whatever. I still don't know what that's about, what the colour scheme's about. I haven't gotten to the root of that. But yeah, I mean, it has been said. But we are kind of in this place, and I sort of touching on what you, because I do agree with you.
The thing with that though, Jack, is do you not think it's hypocritical? Because if we say 10 games into next season we're comfortably second place and playing good football, nobody's going to be complaining anymore. Nobody's going to be talking about the powerlessness of the fans. We talk about these high and mighty and highfalutin ideas when times are bad.
Yeah.
But we win a few football games and nobody's talking about the power of the fan anymore. They're enjoying the part of the game and enjoying Tottenham play football.
Singing Arsenal get battered.
Yeah, exactly.
All that,
so it's all forgotten. People only get high-minded when times are bad because they try to distract themselves from the football.
But this is it though, right? This is, like you're saying, it's an irrational pursuit, and we've gotten to this point, haven't we, where we've tried to make it such an academic or intellectual pastime, when really a lot of it just comes down to watching some lads kick a ball about, try and get a goal so you can jump about and shout and swear at the opposition fans, and that's that is a big part of it.
The thing is as well, the average person on Twitter has next to no idea how a football club is actually run or what happens within inside a football club. So their ideas and things they posit for what might happen in a realistic sense are so divorced from any form of reality that it's laughable. It's an actual waste of time.
Well, I mean, I would say, as somebody, I've worked around football and closely with football clubs for 10 plus years now. And I'd still say I have fuck all idea, really. I've never worked behind the line. Do you know? I've never been on that side. And I know that just from mates that who have basically worked on both sides, are like kind of pretty much saying what you're saying, is in like, you have no idea, mate. Like, it's like the thick of it, or Succession or something on steroids. It's very, very different.
The conversations that anyone is having on Twitter has already happened within the club, probably 12 months before it's even crossed anybody else's mind. So I think it's slightly, I don't know. It's hard because I don't want to shoe in people for having a passion, but at the same time, like, you've got to be realistic at the same time and realise that firing off a thread isn't going to solve anyone's problems.
Sure. but equally to that, like in terms of like power to fans and everything. I mean, like let's just take Spurs in isolation, because I would say that like there is a lot, because as much as I don't disagree with pretty much anything you've said about Levy, it's all on point. I think one of the big points that I do think is kind of missing from what you're saying though is that Levy has turned the club from, like we're saying, those also-rans, like those Villas or whatever we were punching alongside Everton prior to us becoming this super club that we are now. I do think there are kind of, whether people know the ins and outs of a club or not, at least outwardly facing, it feels as though now we're at this kind of super club level that it does feel like Levy or whoever the people around him are just a bit out of their depth at this kind of level. And yeah, that is definitely fans projecting a feeling onto something. But
who isn't out of their depth at this level, Jack? Barcelona and the fans have almost gone bust and can't sign players, and they're one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Yeah,
we don't talk about them being out of their depth. Real Madrid managed to get bankrolled by the state to do all their stuff, so they managed to, circumnavigate it that way. City are only smart because they're richer than God. Manchester United are the biggest club in the world, damn near, and they're badly run. Nobody talks about probably do talk about their owners being out of their depth. Chelsea have just been bought by somebody, again, who is richer than we could ever imagine, and the results speak for themselves. Newcastle have done well now, but that's because, again, they've got more finance. They're on a good run, but they've not hit a speed bump yet. They've not had real decisions to make yet. They've started from such a low ebb that it was a win-win no matter what they did there. Who isn't out of the depth at this level? Arsenal have, after how many years, have just had a good season, and even then, it's ended in disappointment for them. If we're being real,
they've all delivered though, mate. That is the crucial difference. I know it's such a,
but we delivered for 15 odd years, did we not?
But nothing tangible. That's the problem, right? That is still the cloud over Enoch, right? It's the cloud over Levy. It's this.
But that's the case for 90% of clubs, is it not?
Sure, but 90% of clubs don't have a stadium like us, don't charge the most expensive. I mean, none of them do. 99.9%.
But this is what I'm saying before,
charge
that
as much as we do.
We got good before we were really supposed to. So we've got these ideas about winning things years before we should have done. And look, and I realise we've got a proud history and we've won things consistently throughout that time up until now. But the game then isn't what the game is now. When we were winning leagues or even winning FA Cup in 91, the game is night and day from what it is then to what it is now. The parity that existed at that point no longer does. It's harder to win a cup now than it was then.
Well, and the truth of the matter is, back then we were one of the richest clubs. Hence, it stands to reason that we won stuff. And we're not anymore. And I get it.
I'm not saying I don't want to win things either. Like probably the last thing I tweeted about Spurs was, it was the anniversary of the 91 Cup win, and that was, I think, 13 months before I was born, and we've been in 8 semi-finals since and lost them all. And I'd give my left arm to see us win an FA Cup. I want nothing more from life or the world. It would genuinely make me happy as anything else.
It would be great, wouldn't it?
I do realise that it's harder than just willing it on. It's not like the club are actively going, "Oh, we don't fancy winning this." It's just not happened. It's shit and it's hard, but it's just not happened. And maybe I'm dumb and I don't know, happy clappy or whatever, but I do think it will happen at some point rather than later. I don't see us not winning anything forever. I do think in our lifetimes we'll see us win a league, win an FA Cup or two, stuff like that. I think we will.
How long am I living till?
I've no idea, mate. You've just reminded me how old you are, so we've got to hurry up, haven't we?
Fucking hell, we better if it is to be believed, again, I know this is hearsay, this is press saying a source within the club, but it does seem to be that there is a bit of an attitude at Spurs, though, that really, like as Pochettino said, and I did agree with him at the time, but that, top 4 is what we need, what the club needs to sustain itself, to pay off the debt of the stadium, and hence the appetite for FA Cups, League Cups isn't there. And I can see it with the League Cup. FA Cup I would like to win, but that's hypocrisy on my part. I get that. But it does make me wonder if the club is still too focused on the business operation. And yeah, you are probably correct in that we've gotten too close to it. The whole Icarus old parable, that we've gotten too close to it ahead of time, and hence it has created this huge, I guess, aura of discontent around the fan base, around, I would say, a lot of the players, and I think around the media. I mean, the media's, and this is a big part of it, right? The media's reporting of Tottenham. I know every club says this, but the media's reporting of Tottenham is particularly unfavourable.
But this is the point I was trying to make before. I might have done it poorly. Is that people, to try and make sense of Tottenham and contextualise Tottenham, will compare us against other clubs, and they'll do it with a variety of different clubs. They'll talk about Brighton this season and how good they've been. They'll talk about how Arsenal have had a down patch but have managed to be in a title race this season. They'll talk about Chelsea, Newcastle, all these different clubs. They'll then compare us against people abroad and all those things. But there is no direct parallel to Tottenham anywhere in the world. So the large percentage of people who talk about Tottenham and try and do it, especially the biggest names who aren't watching every single one of our games, don't have the time to actually fully delve into every little minutiae of who we are and what's happened along the way and all those things, is only going to get a certain percent of an angle and a story and a viewpoint, and that's what the outside looking in will think and assume. And we kind of have to be a bit thicker skinned and a bit smarter as a fan base to just kind of understand that we might know better. Just because somebody's got a byline and a piece to write, as I once did a long time ago, doesn't mean they're an authority on anything. It just means that that's their opinion. That's their opinion. They've been paid to write. That's the way they've seen it, and that's all well and good. There's nothing against that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what should happen. But it don't mean that you should take it to heart and get upset about it. People will talk shit about anything. Look at Arsenal fans right now, right? They're convincing themselves as a group that they've not bottled the league and that they've progressed as a club and that Arteta's done a brilliant job, and regardless of what happens, it's been a good season. And, rivalry aside, there is probably truth to that. They have done better than they would have thought. But in the actual context of the season, from the outside looking in, as every other club in the land and the world will say, you've choked that title. Given how long you were up there, given how well you were playing, given the situation you found yourselves in, you shat the bed. That's the difference. There's always going to be a disconnect between how other people see your club and how you see your club. Like, take it on a familial level for you at home, Jack. You must think that your family's normal. How you do things is how you've grown up and known things. But when you and your missus got together, you'll have seen things that your in-laws did and go, that's a bit odd. I won't do it that way. And she'll have thought the same about you and the same for me. People get used to their own thing and their own way of life and, naturally have their own visions and echo chambers and views of rights and wrongs. And other people will disagree, and that's what makes the world go around. And you just can't lose your ass every time it happens. Otherwise, you're just going to end up just being in a constant battle against yourself to try and have some sort of supremacy for your opinion when there's no right or wrong opinion to have. You've just got to kind of believe in what you think, be happy with that, find people who think similarly, who make you happy in that, and just leave it at that. Otherwise, you drive yourself insane. It's one.
I did tell you I'm recording podcasts on my own at the moment, didn't I?
But I was about to saying this, like, if you listen to what I would have said 10 years ago when we started this or something, maybe it's something that age brings, or I don't know. It's just a completely different outlook that I have now. I am far more passive to these things than I used to be, because I've accepted in letting some ego go that there is nothing I can say or do that will change anything. My frustrations will remain my frustrations, regardless of however strongly I feel them. It's just, that's the way it is. We've spoken privately about how much we wanted Pochettino back, how much we thought it was the best thing for us, how much of an easy win it would have been, how much of a lift it would have been. There's still Tottenham fans out there that disagree and wanted nothing to do with him again. There's clearly something within inside the club that, previously they'd explored bringing him back, but this time they thought not. And like I said before, we've no idea what those reasons actually are, what those might be.
Just, I don't know, mate. That name. Look, we can go round in circles on this one. I am interested to know, just on a sidebar, how you do feel about him going there.
It's a tough one to take. It's not going to be enjoyable seeing him there. I obviously don't wish them to do well because I never have and never will.
Do you think they will, though?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. This season's been so poor for them that I have no idea. I've no doubt that he'll set them up better, and that they'll probably be more competitive. But whether or not they'll overnight be brilliant, I couldn't tell you. It's a similar thing to the Conte thing with us. I don't know if he's the right personality fit for them, whether or not he's going to... He ideologically will marry with who they want to be or who they are. It just... I don't know. We've had that many ex-Chelsea people now that haven't worked, that there's clearly something personality-wise that is okay for them that isn't okay for us, and whether or not that works vice versa is yet to be seen. But I don't know how I feel about the man personally. I'll never change the way I feel about his time where he was here.
No. And
clearly he had a desire to come back and he just wasn't offered it. So I don't know how much you can hang a bloke for just taking a job. Obviously, there's other jobs to take. There's other things available, but they clearly weren't available to him at that time. How long is he realistically supposed to expect to Mrs. Havisham himself for us? Like he's got to take a job. He wants to live in England. He wants to be near his family. He likes being in London. If there'd been no attempt for him to try and come back to Tottenham, if he hadn't been, making kissy faces since damn near the day he left, then it would be harder to take, I think. And if we hadn't already explored that and decided against it, and he hadn't talked so highly of us and wonderfully about us in the past, then it might be different. But I can't really begrudge a man for taking a job either, because he's got to work. I know he's got a lot of money and all that sort of stuff, but it's all relative. It doesn't really mean anything. It just means that he has a desire to do a job. Somebody has offered him the chance to do that job in a, rivalry aside, competitive arena. And he's well within his rights to do it, as far as I'm concerned. Sometimes we get too blindsided by being supporters and tribalistic to realise that there is a job and professional element to what these people are doing. They've got bills to pay the same as us. They're different bills to pay that what me and you do. But again, it's, he wants to work and he's been given an opportunity to work, so work he will. It's just, that's the high and low of it, I think. That what had he been offered before? The Villa job or something? Like, he's clearly better than that. So
I think you've been too kind to the lemon shagger.
Yeah, I mean, I could burn his autobiography as well, but somebody's beaten me to it.
Saying that one of the things I get known for is book burning. Like, not good fucking look, is it?
Yeah, you've got great company in that.
Oh no, really. Jesus Christ! Oh mate, look. Are there any? Because I was sort of, what this.
What's your opinion? Is he dead to you now? Then
I'm very unhappy with the fact he's gone there. I still kind of think. I think he should have Havishamed it a bit longer, and I think he could have gone. He could have gone, anywhere else.
But where realistically can he go? He's gone abroad, and he didn't want to live there.
Go Sevilla or somewhere like that.
But he doesn't want to live in Spain again. He's happy in London.
Just go manage River Plate or Newell's Old Boys. Go on.
He might. And if he didn't go to Chelsea, he would have ended up at West Ham or Arsenal or Man United or City eventually or something like that. There was no eventuality other than coming to Tottenham where it wasn't going to be bad.
Could taken over at Brighton when whoever gets De Zerbi.
But again, that's beneath him. With no disrespect to Brighton, but he's not an up and comer. He's not.
I don't want him at Chelsea because I think he's going to win the league with him. I really do. This is the trepidation around. Like, I think it's a bit of a. This is turning into a Chelsea podcast, but still, the sort of trepidation around the cultural fit. I think the outlier here is the fact that Todd Boehly is the new face of it, right? Things might run a bit differently there. He didn't get on with Tuchel.
It's gone swimmingly this year.
Yeah, well, it would just be interesting to see, really, that, how a man who took Tottenham Hotspur to a Champions League final, had us in 2 title races, does at a club like Chelsea, where he does already have an amazing squad. They have a brilliant squad of players. They've got a lot of good, talented young players there who just needs galvanising, and we know he's the man that can do that. I think the sky's the limit for that project, and it's just fucking annoying. It's annoying because I don't want it to be even that darkest, deepest, disgusting part of my soul that sees him doing it and thinks, well done, mate, and I worry, at this point in time, it makes me feel sick, the thought of him doing that. And I don't know if in one of my pathetic, softer moments I'm going to think, see, but I see that through the kind of the prism more of it being a Tottenham validating thing, of being
that's how I felt when he was
good.
That's how I felt when he was at PSG. I wanted him, even though I don't like how they're funded and all that sort of stuff. I'd still wanted him to do well. I still wanted him to win stuff, and was happy for him when he did.
It's like Bale at Madrid as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's it's different. It's just life moves on. It is what it is. I still think there's probably football's a game with a short enough memory that if the job rolls around again and things align, there's not something to say he wouldn't come back and manage it again. It happened with Mourinho at Chelsea and stuff. So
well. As the banter dictates, mate, the best way to become a Tottenham manager is to be an ex-Chelsea manager. So, that could be it. On Tottenham season though, let's get back to Tottenham Hotspur if we must. Are there, other than Harry Kane, because I just want to talk about him in isolation later on, say sans Harry Kane, were there any good points to this? Because this feels like one of the most devoid of joy seasons I can honestly ever remember. I put this on par with Sherwood, mate, this year. I think this has been awful. There's been so little joy.
Yeah.
I honestly, maybe Rodrigo Bentancur, but then he's gone and had a fucking ACL.
That's not his fault, though, is it?
No. But exactly. But this is what I mean. Like, this is the universe, like taking that one nice thing away from us. The kind of the promise of him being an actual kind of, Dembele-esque midfielder in his ball retention and his distribution, and then it's just gone. And it felt that, to be honest, not enough people are talking about how our season pretty much fell to pieces when he got crocked. You know. But other than that,
I think he's very good. I think a lot of lads have had down years, and I think they've, the same malaise that we feel they will. They're only human beings at the end of the day. If there's a feeling of misdirection externally, that's only going to happen internally. So you see how that feeds into their mentality and the way they play. Sonny's had a down year because he was being used in a weird way. But we've seen since he's been allowed to actually play like he wants to play, he's been all right. Hugo, bless him, we've talked about it for years that we needed some sort of progression plan there that's never come. And, he's been left out to dry in a way that I think is quite disrespectful, and of course his performances haven't been as we once would have expected of him, but there has been a level of disrespect there, I personally feel, to how he's been throughout his career at Tottenham. It's probably more mismanagement of him and the squad that has led to the way we feel about him rather than anything else. If there was an actual succession plan and things there, then it might have gone differently. I don't want him to go out having, this feeling around him. 'Cause I think that's wrong. I think he's been the best goalkeeper of Tottenham I've seen in my lifetime by a very, very clear distance.
He has gotten very bad though, mate.
He's not great anymore, but it happens.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Defensively, we've been poor. There's not a lot to say there. Even our good defenders haven't been good.
Do you know what I found out the other day? It's the most goals conceded in a season since the fucking 70s when we finished bottom of the table and got relegated.
Yeah.
I mean, that's... these things do make me worry about the team, man. I feel like there's a lot to do. Like, there really is a lot to do.
The defence is the first place to start. I think if you sort the defence out, the rest of the team isn't bad. Midfield, we're okay. I think fullback we're really weird at. Personally, like left back, if somebody actually likes the look of Reguilon, we might be all right. But
we've got Destiny coming in as well, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got him coming in. We've got about 8 right backs to choose from. Pedro Porro actually looks quite fun. Whether or not he can defend or not, I'm not entirely sure about. Emerson Royale's gone from looking like a figure of fun to actually being half decent as well.
Yeah.
Whether or not he could slot in and play right centre half if we're going to play a 3 is something that's worth exploring. One-on-one
feels like
defending.
A right-sided Ben Davis, right? Like that same sort of thing we've had for years with that.
But again, we're clearly in a position where we need to sign another very good central defender. Davinson Sanchez clearly has just lost his confidence and needs to move on for his own good more than anything else, because the way the fan base have clearly lost their patience with him. I think there is a player there. Probably not for Tottenham now. That fit's probably gone, but I don't think he is. I think he's got the ability to re-find his career elsewhere if he wants to.
Eric Dyer.
Yeah, it's not the first time that's happened. Eric Dyer possibly as well, yeah. But with Eric Dyer, there's probably a reason why every single manager we've had has wanted to play him.
Yeah.
We can't see it on the pitch sometimes, but he must be doing something right. And I think he's a great lad.
Yeah.
And I think we overlook the dressing room element of some of these people sometimes as well, because the amount of time they spend with each other, the amount of say they have in the attitude and the outlook of the side is something that you've got to remember. That's hard. We've lost a few people in those areas. Dembele being one of them, Vertonghen, Alderweireld. There's
Michel
been a void
Vorm,
of
randomly.
Yeah, Michel Vorm. Yeah, there's been leaders being lost and trying to find new ones isn't something that happens overnight. A dressing room off the field and the feeling within that is as important as what happens on the field. And I don't know if we've got the right alchemy there. Benton Kerr, as long as he gets back fit, fine. Oliver Skip looks like he could be handy. There's players there that can do a job, and up front we've got a good selection. I think once Kulusevski gets fit and actually has a bit of a rest, he just looks knackered. That should be okay, but he's not the first player that's had a serious injury and struggled. So the squad's not awful. And the thing that makes me laugh always is you look at the lads that we've got out on loan and who are coming back. Like, if there's a manager that actually fancies them and wants to use them and that they buy into, there's half a squad there. Like, Lo Celso is clearly good. Like, we can say he's been rubbish for us all we want, but he's not a bad footballer. Everybody likes him. Argentina were worried about not having him at the World Cup. Ondembele's just won the league with Napoli and been good. Brian Hill's gone back to Spain and been good again.
Do you see the goal that got Sevilla to the Europa League final?
Him crossing for Lamella?
Yeah. Like, how fucking perfect is that? I Loki, I don't want to bring this whole fucking culture war up again, man. But if we bring in the right manager, I really am like, come on, someone else giving Ndombele a go.
I'm not against it whatsoever.
That
I think
bit
it's
of
just
fucking flair in midfield, like from
we've
him.
missed it. We've just missed a bit. The team hasn't been that fun to watch, and we just need some more. He's a proper Tottenham player if he's switched on and can do what he needs. Play him for an hour, take him off and put somebody else on. Make him feel loved. He's obviously temperamental.
But he can be fucking magic though. That's the thing,
Of course, we don't. Those players are few and far between to try and find. we'd have to spend another 60 million on somebody we're not entirely sure about. This is what I mean. I don't think our recruitment has been awful over the past few years. It's just not worked for intangible reasons. I know there's been reports that we're going to change the vision and how we recruit and stuff, but you hit hot streaks and you hit cold streaks. We've had hot streaks before when we signed. There's countless people we signed: Berbatov, Modric, Bale, Vertonghen, all these type of people. Lloris originally, like we did good business for reasonable prices for a long time. And when you're coming from a base where your team's not very good and you're just trying to improve it, that's quite easy. Not quite easy, but that's easier to do. And I think Brighton are experiencing this now, where they've had a team that's come up from the Championship. They've got progressively better, but every time they recruit, they spend a little bit more money. The team gets a little bit better. Everyone's going, "Oh, Brighton are incredible at this." But at some point, they're going to hit a ceiling for themselves where it's going to be harder to improve on what they've got, and those improvements aren't going to be as easy to find. And it's just a natural thing. They either then have to increase the amount they're paying by continuing to be successful, or they'll hit an almost Southampton-like wall that we've seen, where the talent's harder to buy, people buy them faster than you can replace them, and you're back to square one.
Well, and the other thing is, right, people will naturally start to see, and this is a problem that Tottenham face, that, again, people don't give us credit for, but people will naturally start to see. They sell Caicedo on this summer for 80 mil, 100 mil, as is being reported. More and more selling clubs are now going to be saying, well, we want a piece of that. There's an extra 10 mil added onto that player that you would have otherwise gotten for a couple of mil a few years back.
The methodology that they've used to find him in the first place, other clubs will then cotton onto, and they'll be in the market for the same sort of players. And, it's almost like what Wenger experienced, where he came in and all of his new ideas immediately were a hit. But once everybody else cottoned on, suddenly the playing field was level again. So it's one of those things. There's a team there. The defence clearly needs looking at centrally, especially, and goalkeeper. But after the season we've just had, we will invest, because there's no other option but to not.
Well, there could be another glaring hole in the team next year. But how is this for a segue? Could be another glaring hole in the team next year in the shape of our 30 goals this season striker.
Before we get onto this, I'd just like to say that the growth that we show as men, that you've just said glaring hole several times and neither of us have made a joke, is...
Well, considering the pods were once a write-off when one of us would say kapoo back in the day.
I've forgotten about that.
Unless we forget me fucking breaking a chair midway through a recording as well. All right.
That was broadcasting.
Chairgate, man. Like, what the fuck?
That's when we peaked as human beings.
I think that's when it all peaked. For fuck Amsterdam away. Like,
it was nice of Leeds to let Lucas have his moment, wasn't it?
It was a good goal as well, wasn't it?
I like that they just let him run through.
It's I know there's a lot that can be said about Lucas off the pitch, but just in as I said the other day, in a purely sport washing sense, it was a nice moment for him, and a fitting way to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Do you not want to talk about Harry Kane maybe leaving this summer, Raj?
I don't think he is, to be honest.
You don't?
No. I think they'd rather see him leave for free in a year.
But then he goes Chelsea though, doesn't he? If he leaves on a free.
I don't think so.
Oh mate, I worry about that one a lot.
You have a Chelsea thing though, because that's where you grew up. So you have a real I was about to say inbred, but maybe I'm going to stick with inbred. You have an inbred fear of Chelsea.
That sort of metaphor you were using earlier, talking about like the things Charlotte found weird about my family when we first got together. Yeah. She soon got over us all sitting around naked when I went back to my family home. But
I could actually see you doing that though.
Fuck off. You've had one look at my Instagram, my family photos. You're like, yeah, they look like
naked
Robins.
Barbecue.
Yeah. Another sausage, Dad. Oh, not that one. Yeah, Jesus, that took a turn, didn't it? I think the momentum seems to be growing quite a bit on this Madrid. I mean, I just fuck Shearer's record. Kane. Look, you're Tottenham's top goal scorer. You're England's top goal scorer. You can break Shearer's record, but Haaland will probably do it in a few years. Just go Madrid. Go Madrid. Seal yourself in the sort of pantheon of greats of the game. Win a couple of Champions Leagues. Win a few sort of Spanish leagues. A few Copa del Reys. Do that. It worked for Bale. It worked for Modric. Go and do that. It's not all about the Premier League and getting Shearer's record. Please just go to Madrid. Please.
If he goes this summer, he'll be going abroad.
Yeah, 100%. No, because United are going to offer us fuck all. If they are going to try and buy him, I reckon, this summer. But they will say, here's 60 mil and Anthony Martial or something. Do you know what I mean? It'll be something like that where you would think, well, what's the point though? Because if we've got Harry Kane in our team, we're more likely to finish top 4, which is what, 120 mil or something to qualify for the Champions League. Keep your 60 mil, United.
The only thing that I'm worried about with the Real Madrid thing is that it's been floated that it's got like Eden Hazard coming the other way. And with all due respect, like if they want a bloke with a big arse who's not going to play very much, like me and you are available for much less money.
I'd still, do you know what? I think he could be a bit of a Van der Vaart though, mate.
He literally hasn't played. Jack, he can't fucking get fit.
Let's just have a go. Let's just chuck it at a wall.
How have we not learned that like taking people who are good at Chelsea isn't good for us? Just leave him be.
This is what you said though. Us fans, we don't know fuck all. We just act on instinct, act on passion. I'll have Hazard. Do it. Whatever.
Oh. There's so many better players there that I'd rather have.
Of course. But I'm just, my point is more, I can't stand.
If he goes, I don't mind him go to Madrid. Like
I can't stand to see him at United. Like I can't, or Chelsea, or dare I say Arsenal, mate.
No, yeah,
imagine if he did that. I don't. I after Campbell, mate, I will never ever really have that trust in another player ever again.
For me, this is where my hopeful fanness comes out. I hope he stays for another year and has a good season, and we have a good season. And that might tickle a bit of his fancy, and he thinks, "Oh, maybe we can do something," and we trick him into another 3-year contract or something like that. Like, I know it's probably wishful thinking and what have you, but that's my pipe dream, because I can't. More than any other player, really, even Ledley at this stage, because of how much he's played now centrally, has been to our success. It used to be like a treat when Ledley played.
Yeah.
It was almost like we had an absentee father, and like he's actually turned up to his birthday party this year. So class.
Yeah.
But for him, he's been central to everything good about us. So it'd be really odd for Tottenham not to have him. But I don't know, if we leave it at this stage, then I think it's leaving it on us on a much better footing than it could have been otherwise. He's broken the record. He's given us far more than we could have ever imagined. He's got the mural, which is nice, but he deserves a statue. I know that's a very fanny thing to say, but we don't really do much of that very well at Spurs. We need to.
It's still no Bill Nicholson one, things like that. It's an easy win.
We need to celebrate our history better than we do, because there is an history there to celebrate, and that's just one of those things. But yeah, if he goes to Madrid, then yeah, fair, all power to him. It's hit and miss whether or not it works out there for you.
It'll be 2 years' time. He'll be getting the white hanky treatment, 100%. But yeah. I think for that time, I just think he'd.
Well, in 2 years' time, they'll probably try and swap him for Haaland.
Precisely.
But if he did go to Madrid, then I'd want some sort of. Remember when we sold Bale, there was always that rumour that we got first refusal if he got sold or something.
Yeah.
I think we should actually try and do something where, like, look, go to Madrid on a 3-year deal. If you want to come back here when you're 33, 34 or whatever, then yeah, we'll have you till the end of your career.
He'll still be banging him in at that age.
Yeah, he'll change his game. He'll just be a poacher at that point.
I mean, he's like you say. There's just, I don't know. You do take it for granted. You absolutely do take it for granted. Like just how brilliant he is and how many goals he scores. Did you see the Leeds game or the highlights of it?
Yes, of course I did. Yes,
his assist for that Porro goal.
Yeah,
it's fucking unbelievable, man.
Yes,
like the guy's incredible. And I think this is what so much of my anxiety about Tottenham and what they look like next year. Because I'm sure, the more rational approach is, well, if Kane goes, chances are we deploy somebody like Richarlison more centrally, and we'll probably see Brazil's number 9 actually playing for Tottenham, not this kind of guy who is trying to desperately do what he can with the odd little bit of appearance that we give him shoved in on the right wing or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, people already making these kind of judgments on Richarlison already. Give the guy a chance, man. Like, he shows for Brazil and he showed at Everton that he's a very talented player. He's very young. He's got he's got that dog in him, right? He's got that sort of fight where he can change games, where he can get a crowd going. So, we don't need to be in a rush to sell him and make any snap judgments about him. So, like I say, I think if somebody like Kane goes, and Richarlison's not going to score as many goals as Harry Kane. I get that. He just isn't. But maybe we can get more goals from all over the pitch. Maybe there is an argument to be made that we funnel everything through Kane and that's why he scores so many goals. I don't actually agree with that at all, to be honest with you. But I have seen that argument made. I do just look at it, though, and I see Spurs have conceded. Let me just have a quick look. I want to see how many goals we actually have conceded this year. We have conceded...
Even with your family, you don't have enough fingers and toes for that.
63 goals. 63 goals we've conceded this season. And we scored 70, right? 30 of those being Harry Kane on an individual basis. So, we're in a very precarious position if he does go. Not to mention, like you say, with our defence needing rebuilding, with probably needing a new keeper. I thought Lloris's contract was up this summer. He does have another year left, so I would imagine we probably won't see it as a priority to get a successor in. Like, there's a lot of link to David Raya at Brentford, isn't there?
Just bought another keeper today.
Yeah, so we might be kind of doing the Friedel Lloris thing, maybe it's gone full circle for Hugo. That's what we might see, but I can't see Hugo going this summer. I can't see any kind of new
He
manager.
can't go out the way it's just ended, where he's injured and not playing and all that sort of stuff.
No, I mean, his last game being that Newcastle game as well, it's repulsive.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
But I think, it will be too destabilising, I think, at the moment with the... Because, there is a bit of a maelstrom over Tottenham at the moment, right? It does feel all quite chaotic, and I think a real constant throughout the years of it being good and it being bad previously that has been Hugo Lloris as our club captain for most of that time, and I don't think at the moment the club are going to want that kind of destabilising effect. I doubt any new manager is going to say, oh yeah, sure, take France's international goalkeeper and the club captain away. I don't need him, so... He'll see out his contract, I believe, at Tottenham. But if Kane goes, it's going to be very uncomfortable. It's going to be very uncomfortable, and it will be. Yeah, as a fan, it will be heart wrenching. I don't see it as like, let's sell him because we need the money. Look,
no, we don't.
I think really at our level, that the level of money we will get for him is immaterial, right?
We've just probably made that money in free Beyonce concerts.
Right. The amount of money we make on a match day is said to be in the millions. I think getting 50, 60 million pounds for Harry Kane is, it's.
I still think he's a £100 million footballer.
He is. Yeah, 100%. People make too much. This is one of the things. This is one of my biggest bugbears of this, right? People make such a deal of him being 29 now. This is the end of his. Coming up to the end of his career. Well, it's not really though. Like, things have moved on since the 90s. We are looking at players, especially players that look after themselves in the way that Kane does. Like, because let's be honest, he isn't just one of these average members of a team. He's one of these like freak footballers that is completely invested in his own personal training, his nutrition, his mentality, all this sort of stuff. He doesn't go out boozing all the time, all that type of thing. The other players that do that have massive longevity. Look at somebody like who doesn't get enough credit. Everyone talks about Cristiano Ronaldo. Jermaine Defoe was playing at Premier League level till he was 39 years old. The guy was in absolutely incredible shape, because I remember reading about it. He was talking about it. He got to his 30s and was suddenly like, I want to keep playing football. So really focused on his body, and look at him. He was playing at a decent level.
As long as you don't have a disastrous injury, then you can prolong your career.
Kane can be playing for 10 years. Still, he can still. I reckon he can still be playing at an elite level for 4 to 5 years, scoring a lot of goals.
35, 36. Lewandowski's that sort of age.
You know, like there's none of this. So that's why it was so insulting, really, when he was 27 and had 3 years left on his contract. Manchester City thought they could have him for £70 million. It's mental.
What about the new manager, Jack? How do you feel? Where would you want to go here?
I mean, I don't. Being brutally honest with you, I don't like the bloke, but I think it has to be Nagelsmann, right? Like, I think you've got to chuck money at him. He ticks so many boxes for Tottenham.
Can't see it being him.
No, nor can I. I think it's going to be Postecoglou. I think it is going to be him.
And how do you feel about Angie?
I'm not keen on it, mate. I'll be honest.
For what reasons?
Look, I'm sure. Right, give it. I'm sure. 10 games into next year, I am going to be doing my rambling madness pod by myself, saying I love him. I was so wrong about him. He's such a good lad, and he's whatever. He's really kind of emboldened the spirit of the club and all this type of stuff. I get that, but I've just got concerns over. Okay, I think there are ground level concerns which are possibly unfair. I get that the route to top level football when you're in Australia probably isn't as plain sailing as it is for somebody from Europe.
Yeah.
But the fact he's 57 and Celtic.
You're almost 57, Jack.
is the peak of his experience so far. The fact that I think the Celtic fans are very taken with him as a person.
What does the fact of him being 57 mean? Like,
well, I mean,
he's not playing on wing for us, is he?
He's not playing on the wing, but also, we can't deny the fact, right, that players have to be able to bond with. Footballers are different now. They just are. We've seen this. We've seen that older managers generally struggle to translate their ideas to young lads, like they do, and I think that's a bit.
Doesn't seem to have borne out in Celtic.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, man! It's Celtic in the
people.
SPL.
People do badly at Celtic. People do badly with the Australian national team.
Yeah, okay, but people don't really do badly with Celtic. And I have seen a lot of Celtic fans talk about him as a bloke, how much they love him, but I've also said that Rodgers was doing a better job up there. Like he's not done well. Whenever they've had a test that isn't the SPL, he's completely flopped it. His record in Europe with Celtic has been car crash. And I think
everyone's record with Celtic in Europe.
Yeah, but this all
other than Lisbon Lions, when's the last time they did all in?
I think these things do have to be taken into consideration. Like it's the Tottenham job is massive. It's a massive job, mate, and there's a lot of eyes on it. People want to do the Spursy thing. We're Tim Pot with this, but we're not. It is a massive job. It's a huge job. And I just don't think the media. I think ultimately, right, my baseline of it is I don't think the media are going to be favourable towards this appointment. They're not going to give him any time.
What does that matter? It goes into
it does matter, doesn't it? Because it affects the mood of not only the fan base, it affects the mood around the club. It affects the way in which the club is viewed, the way in which other
don't really care about that.
Teams will approach us. I take it you quite like him then.
I don't actually have any strong feelings either way. I just think the discourse around him has been slightly disrespectful, and I think people are slightly getting a little bit ahead of themselves in terms of or what they think. How do I phrase this? There's an air of sort of entitlement about how we're talking about people who might be good at the job that we're doing. And I'm not sure we're really in a position to have that entitlement.
Do you not think so, though?
Let me put this question to you a different way. Who was Mauricio Pochettino before we hired him? He'd a bloke who'd done all right at Southampton. He's still doing interviews with a Spanish translator. People thought he was a joke when he joined Southampton and didn't think he was going to do very well when he came to us. He wasn't our first choice. People weren't enthralled about his signing at that stage. He's done okay at Espanyol.
We're not that same club though anymore, mate. And we're
not, but the thinking behind the thing, we said this before, we've come full circle. We've done the born winner, this is the level of person we should be going for thing, and look where that's left us, miserable. So there is a middle ground. I'm not saying it's one extreme or the other. Nagelsmann probably is somewhere in the middle. That's more of an AVB type thing than it is anything else. But I don't think we should be turning his nose up to somebody because he's 57 or because he's not managed at a huge club before. You know, there's loads of people who haven't managed at huge clubs that have been given a chance. There's sometimes a fit thing as well. Look at Spalletti at Napoli. They'd not won the league for how long? He'd not been brilliant as a manager for how long, but he got the right fit, he got the right team, and it's gone well for him. I'm not saying Postecoglou's going to turn up and win his league, but I think we need to be slightly more open-minded than what we are being as to who can actually do a job for us. I think personality-wise, he might be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I think being slightly older might actually help him in that he has some wherewithal about him. He's not going to be blown over by first gust of wind. The press might not get to him as much. When he's coming to deal with bigger players, he might actually be able to rationalise with them and speak to them in a different way. It doesn't have to be I get the point you're making about how players like to identify with and see themselves in who's coaching them and things, but that doesn't. It's not like every manager in the world is young. But Ancelotti's doing well at Real Madrid. He's not some young spring chicken, is he?
I suppose your man Neil Warnock did an all right job, didn't he?
He's 74 years old, and you know we'd hired young managers before that, and so it's there's something to be said for experience and knowing and all that sort of thing. If he was to come, I think he deserves a fair shake.
He'll get that from me, you know. And you know what? I'll love him. You know, the thing is, I will love him.
I actually think Spurs fans will like him. I think he will carry himself in a way that Tottenham fans will appreciate. I think he'll come off in the press really well. I think if he gets off to an okay start, then people will like the story of him. I think the press wants to get to speak to him and things like that will actually have a better opinion of him. And we constantly talk about like, oh, we need to be smarter with what we need to do, and we need to think outside the box. We need to be more progressive. This hiring is on the face of it, if you put it on paper, all of those sort of things, the type of football he wants to play, the way he approaches to market, all those sorts of things, all ticks those boxes. But because he's old, because he's Australian, and because he's coming from Celtic, everyone's going, oh no, I don't fancy that. But
in a nutshell, isn't it?
The only thing that gives me pause about it is that I think somebody had written that he's friends with Scott Munn or something like that. Or something
yeah,
like
well,
that.
he's. I think Munn's employed him at two previous clubs, Melbourne something, and then the Japanese club as well.
People do hire who they know.
Of course,
they don't have to be mates, but it works like that. Like, half the reason why we thought Pochettino might come back is because he actually got on with Daniel Levy, who's the one bloke that apparently did.
It seems like that's not the case, though, doesn't it?
Like I said earlier, we've no idea.
I just think people have been watching too much Ted Lasso, mate. I think people think, you know, a nice guy in football, so let's have him as our manager. Some shrimp on the barbie, fucking Celtic nonce. No.
Hopefully not one of your naked Barbies.
No.
I don't mind who it is as long as he's given a fair shake and as long as you know there's a chance to it.
Because do you know what the thing is? I actually hate Nagelsmann as well. I think he'd be a tosser. You know, I'm probably just being wowed by It just I don't know. It just feels like the club needs a lift, and I'm not sure. Postecoglou feels a bit underwhelming. It does. We've
done the bright, shiny new thing a couple of times recently.
But don't you think Nagelsmann has the best of both? Like he is the bright, shiny thing, but he has the kind of youth.
But he also has the thing about him where, like, if it goes well for him in 2 years, then he could just he is looking for a bounce back now.
Course,
we are a rebound shag, and
the Madrid job might be there in a year or so.
Exactly.
And,
So there's always that thing about him, and if you get somebody who would actually like and value the Tottenham job, appreciate the opportunity. I'm not talking about like a competition winner or something, but somebody who actually might want to be there for a while, like a Pochettino was, because he had opportunities to go before we sacked him. That's better for us. We know from the past that's the sort of manager we like. Martin Jol type. Martin Jol weren't young, were he? He didn't have much going for him before he joined us. Like it's the last person to win a Last person to win a trophy for us was Hande Ramos, and he was ancient.
He's about 93, wasn't he? But I can... this is what I'm hoping for with Postecoglou, that he will be that Yol, Pochettino kind of player that is going to... Even Redknapp, we can chuck Redknapp in there as well. It's a mix of like vibes and knowing what he's doing. Because, you know, even with Redknapp, a lot of us, when we brought him in, were like, fuck me, no, not Harry Redknapp. And that was honestly, it was some of the best times we've ever had as Tottenham fans, you know? Yes, he had an unbelievable squad, but he did unleash them. The thing is, with this as well, Postecoglou, really, as it's gone on, I've sort of wound myself up more about it. When it was first sort of came into the discourse, I was actually like, yeah, I'm actually quite up for that. I quite like the cut of his jib. One of my like best mates is a Greek Aussie lad, and he's a gooner, but he's like, I'll be fucking livid if you get Inge. Like he's so for that element as well, because they love him, like they absolutely love him, the Aussies, and
it's your best mate Borat.
The pelters I've been getting lately are mostly from people with Australia flags in their names, like being like, you don't know fucking anything. It's like, oh, what a surprise, someone with an Australia flag in their name doesn't like me saying something about Ange Postecoglou. Come on, mate. Like, you know, get a grip. But I get it. We all get kind of protective about things. I was protective over Pochettino, and I'm only a plastic RG, so it is what it is. But, you know, whatever happens.
That's
just
not me
like
nailing my colours to mask and
course.
saying that it should be immoral.
Exactly.
But just the way he's been talked about and stuff, I think people just need to give their heads a bit of a wobble.
I just want to enjoy Tottenham again, and if he can do that, then because it hasn't basically, mate, since Pochettino went, it hasn't been much fun at all, and we've drifted further and further away from us seeming anything like something that can be fun or enjoyable, and more something that we've just got to endure as fans. And that shouldn't be it when you've got Harry Kane leading the line for you, you know. So maybe if we can have one last year of Kane and it can actually be a laugh, and maybe we can get an FA Cup or something, you know, who knows? I mean, it doesn't all hinge on that. Before I do let you go, mate, because I'm conscious of the fact, like, this is a bit of an old school pod. We're coming on an hour and 20 now.
Yeah, fuck your film podcast.
I want to talk to you because you have, I reckon now,
I can't believe you made an In Bruges episode without me, by the way, but I'll let that go.
6 or 7, was it? No, probably not that long. What, 5 or 6 years you've been telling me, watch Barry, you will like it. Watch Barry, it's brilliant. And I've always been like, yeah, all right, yeah. You know, when it just is, it's not because you're recommending it to me. It's when anyone recommends something to you now, you're like, I get it, but there's fucking 15,000 things across every fucking streaming platform. And I'm not sure what it is. I think I've seen loads of people tweeting because it's the final season now. Barry's like one of the best things ever. It's literally up there with all of them. So I thought, all right, maybe Raj had a point. And I've breezed through the first series, and I'm like halfway through the second one now, and I would say it is, genuinely speaking, actually one of the best things I've ever watched. It like speaks to me on like such a level. So many of the themes, the way in which it's executed, the tone of it, all of it is spectacular. Just how like dark and hilarious it is. The acting, the script, all of it is like it's one of the few shows I would say that like really has the ability to just like completely wind you at times, you know. And I'm only halfway through the second series. Yeah. What do you make of that, mate?
Firstly, you're welcome. But yeah, I completely agree with you. It's brilliant. I've not had a chance to start the last season yet. I'm up to date, but it's absolutely fantastic. The writing's incredible. The performance is absolutely brilliant, like you say. I think the filmmaking is really underrated. Some of the set pieces and stuff for a 30-minute comedy most of the time is really good. There's a car chase sequence in, I think, the last season that's unbelievable, like genuinely unbelievable, like John Wick style stuff. If you ever do a John Wick episode without me, by the way, I will hunt you down like John Wick and fucking murder you with a pencil. But yeah, it's incredible. I think it's just so well pitched and such a clear, singular vision of what it wants to be in quite a unique way that it does. It is affecting. It will make you laugh and then make you kind of go, "Oh shit, that's not great." A minute later, and there's so many. It's one of those shows that it manages to make its point in a really effective way, in a way that is knowing without feeling like a GCSE project, which Ted Lasso that you brought up earlier tends to do, and that's a show that people are snobby about it, and I get a bit annoyed about it sometimes because I watch it with my wife. And my wife enjoys watching it because she knows nothing about football. And then I enjoy watching it because it's one way of watching football with my wife. Sometimes they do things pretending like behind the scenes of a football club that would never happen at a football club. And it makes me irrationally angry. There was one thing in this latest season, Jack, I properly flipped my lid about because they were arranging a press conference, which is what I do every week. And the owner of the football team was trying to arrange it and was trying to find out who was going. And I was just, I actually paused it and I talked Priya through how that would actually happen in real life and what actually happens. And she was like, I don't really care. Can you put the TV show back on, please? Shut the fuck up. I want to watch the American Silly Man now. But yeah, Barry's brilliant. I recommend it heartily to anyone and everyone. If you have listened to me and Jack talk for all these years and enjoy us chatting shit and our sensibilities, then I imagine it's for you.
I've just seen the episode, mate, where he's having to the teacher's wanting him to reenact his trauma, and it's him kind of making out that when he first shot people in Iraq that he was really upset by it, but actually he was shooting them and kind of happy, and all the other soldiers around him were like cheering him on, and like it's so uncomfortable, isn't it, when you see those kind of moments? And like you say, the way it flips tone, I love it how you see him kind of joking along, being this kind of like bumbling, awkward guy who's really depressed, and then suddenly switching into like fucking hot shit hitman mode, where he's just like, his aim is like razor sharp, and he's just taking. I don't know. It's brilliant, man. Like it's
because it's one of those things that the physicality of it and that side of it is the action. It's not something you'd ever really picture Bill Hader doing.
No, not at all.
But he's really effective in it. He's really
brilliant.
Good. I'd want to see him do more drama, do more straight stuff off the back of this.
Can he be our manager?
I think he's a bit odd for that, to be honest.
I'd fucking back him, mate. Like I love him. I think he's
like a dark Ted Lasso.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's give it a go.
Manages Tottenham by day and kills people by night.
Let's give it a go, mate. If we're just bringing in some vibes merchant from Celtic, mate, like why not? Jesus. Speaking of disrespect of,
it's the one thing I was going to say about Ange that I didn't before is that it's not like Nuno, where that was clearly desperate and just a bloke who was free at the time who were like, right, here's a 2-year contract that's easy to pay off. Like it actually feels like there's some thinking that's gone into this that is and rationale, rather than just that bloke who did all right at Wolves will do until somebody better comes along. Saying that, he's just won a league, I think, Nuno, so fair fucks to him.
Why are you bringing me? Stop bringing me back into Spurs. I was trying to get into Barry, get into TV. I didn't want to talk about it anymore, mate. But
is there anything else on telly you've watched recently that you like?
Is there anything else on telly that I've watched recently? I loved Severance on Apple TV. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
I think you might enjoy that.
Is that the one with Adam Scott?
It is, yeah. And similar to this with Bill Hader, him playing a role that you wouldn't normally associate him with.
All right, okay.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's what's the term for it when it's things like Westworld and all this other stuff where it's like and Lost, like concept
dystopian.
No, like concept TV or something. Okay. I don't know, but it's the idea of Severance is highly like hinged upon a central.
Oh, is it? It's the work one, isn't it? Where you go in and then you forget about what you've just done at work or something.
It would be essentially like, you know how you partition a hard drive, right?
Yeah.
You can create a partition in your brain where you don't have to worry about going to work. You switch off, your active brain switches off, and then you have this passive brain which does your job for you, right?
Okay.
But the problem is those passive brain people are starting to wake up to the fact that the only thing I experience is being here at work in the office, and it all rotates around that as a concept, as a theme, and it's so grim when you suddenly like start getting into it. It's so dark, and it's really well done. There's probably not as much light relief as there is in something like Barry, but you still.
It doesn't sound light.
Yeah, but well, it does have, and I guess a lot of that is down to the performances of those involved. But I would highly recommend that. Like, that's something that I've very, very much enjoyed. And obviously, I'm sure. Have you watched Better Call Saul? Did you get?
I haven't
that?
yet. I've not started it yet. No.
Okay, right. Well, that's one for you to look forward to as well.
Yeah, I need to get onto it. Like, I loved Breaking Bad, but I've just not had the chance. My television viewing is. There was once a time where there wasn't a new show on television. Literally, there wasn't a new show that I wasn't on top of and had watched and known about and stuff. And just, I couldn't be more opposite from that now. Like, it was a real event for me the other week. I had like some time to take back. And in the middle of the afternoon, rather than doing something productive, I forced myself to sit there and watch Banshees of Inisherin because I really wanted to watch it. And I was like, I'm never going to get the chance to watch this if I don't force myself to do it now.
Did you enjoy it?
I fucking loved it. Yeah, I really loved it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's exactly
right.
my sort of thing.
Yeah.
The time went gorgeously along. The afternoon was wonderful. Sat on the sofa with my feet up in a little blanket on and had a right time cup of tea.
Yeah.
Watch a telly. It was absolutely perfect. It was, and really enjoyed the film and kind of didn't have my phone out, all that sort of stuff. Got a bit lost in it, and yeah, it was very enjoyable. But those experiences now are seldom and few and far between, unfortunately. Life gets in the way, does it not?
Life does get in the way, mate, and Tottenham Hotspur get in the way of enjoying that life. Yeah. But thanks for answering.
I won't trade them for the world, though.
No, of course not. Of course not. I mean, I would trade them like maybe just being a bit better every now and again. You know, I think we get a bit too lost in the whole mythology of, well, we're shit, but you gotta love them. It's like they can be good as well. You know, they can be good and we love them. You know, like they did used to win stuff. So a lot of this stuff does come from us. Like the club, you know, can do it better, but sometimes I do think we need to just get out of our own fucking heads and just. I'm saying this to myself as much as I am to anybody else. Get out of our own heads and just sometimes just try and fucking enjoy the experience of watching football again, you know, without this kind of, is this going to get us top four? What are the permutations for this? And what, you know, just fucking enjoy the game a bit again. And it will help if we actually have a manager, step in Ange Postecoglou perhaps, that can actually just embrace that again, right? Make football a bit more fun, make the match day more of a pleasurable experience, not something that needs to be endured. But thanks for jumping on again, Raj. Thanks for answering the, you know, like the bat signal. I flicked it for the end of season finale. I've got the band back together, got Raj Bains back in, and I hope you were saying before, you were like, oh, I haven't done this for a while, so apologies if I'm fucking, it's like putting on an old pair of shoes, isn't it? Like, you've been fine. You know?
I was just being bashful, Jack.
Yeah, well,
I knew I'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Sets himself Gineppo. Tries to pull it back. Ward-Prowse! Beautifully done! Southampton with an early lead, and are they doing it again to Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Ball in towards Kane. There's Sessegnon! There's Dyer. Bring to Son again. Still plenty forward here. All the centre backs. Dyer helping it on! Spurs in front for the first time this season, and it's Eric Dyer Emerson, Kulusevski wants it. Kulusevski has it, passes it in. It's getting better and better for Tottenham on opening day.
Need a good corner, Tottenham here, and they've got it. They have got it. Harry Kane got the touch, and it's 2-2 in the very last moments. It's finished. Antonio, it hasn't finished. Correction. It's only just started. And Conte has certainly been red-carded. Red card for Thomas Tuchel as well.
But here's Son. Is he going to do it on his own, or could he use Højbjerg? He's gone for goal! That's the moment he craved! Last season's Golden Boot winner, who couldn't buy a goal in the first 8 games of this season, ends his drought. And how? Son! Oh, it's another beauty! Could this be the hat-trick? Son! It is now!
Is Saka getting it onto his left foot, and the handling from Lloris. By Gabriel Jesus. Emirates ecstasy revisited. Mistake by the most experienced man on the field.
Tottenham Hotspur Football Club very sadly announced on Thursday morning that our fitness coach John Piero Ventron has passed away at the age of 61.
Tottenham Hotspur have the points at the Amex Stadium thanks to Harry Kane's goal midway through the first half, and Hugo Lloris, the captain, holds up a shirt with the name Gianpiero on it. Gianpiero Ventrone, the much admired fitness coach and friend of Antonio Conte, and that is a lovely touch from Tottenham's captain.
Tudor's on the pitch, the coach. Harry Kane plays it through. Højbjerg's in. Højbjerg shoots, and Tottenham are through. Tottenham Hotspur are through to the last 16 of the Champions League.
Lingard and Surridge getting in there. Aurier too. It's going towards Surridge. Back across Lingard! He has his first goal in Garibaldi red.
Va Montiel! Montiel! Goal! Argentina campione del mondo!
Rodri, mistake. Højbjerg. Kane! He's done it! It's the record! And he's got it against the champions! And now Harry Kane's name stands alone. The greatest scorer in this club's history is one of Spurs' own.
Robinson tries now at Højbjerg. Max Lowe wriggling through and scoring! Iliman Ndiaye's been on the pitch for about 4 minutes, and he smashed Sheffield United in front.
Can James Ward-Prowse win a point for Southampton? You bet he can! Smashed into the top corner. It's 3-3.
They don't want to play under pressure. They don't want to play under stress. Yeah, it's easy in this way. And Tottenham story is this. 20 years that there is the owner and never won something. Until now, I tried to hide the situation, but now no. Because I repeat, I don't want to see what I have seen today. Because this is unacceptable.
Closing in on the Tottenham goal, still going. Testing Lloris. There's the follow-up. There's the opening goal. Oh, let's come through to Joe Linton. It's 2! And Newcastle United have got another hit. Murphy can't believe it. Here's Isak away from Dyer. Newcastle 4. Here they come again. It's Isak. It's another. What on earth is happening here? Sets it up for himself, Kane, and a superb solo goal from the England captain. Almiron straight into the thick of it. It falls to Wilson. The two substitutes combine.
seconds after their introduction to hit a sixth for Newcastle United.
There's Lucas Moura, can he finish his Tottenham career in style? It's a wonderful goal! And what a way for Lucas Moura to say goodbye to Tottenham Hotspur.
Do you think the club is still an attractive proposition for some of the best managers in the world?
Absolutely, yes.
Why do you feel that's the case?
It's its history. It's Tottenham Hotspur. It's a big club, not just for managers, coaches, for staff members, for players. Anyone here should feel the privilege and the honour to represent this badge, and if they don't, then they shouldn't be here. It's really as simple as that.